Good evening, this is the Northern Sun Experience. I'm David Brown, and the playoff plot has suddenly thickened. Minnesota State and Sioux Falls seem to be on a collision course to both be undefeated heading into their November 7th matchup. But as any good coach will tell you, you got to take it one game at a time. So as cliche as that sounds, and while myself and others were looking ahead, the team still had to play the games. And Sioux Falls had a big one in the key to the city game against Augustana. They would get off to a quick start in the first. Luke Papillion over the middle to Brady Rose 11 yards out, and it's 7-0 USF. Later in the quarter, Coup worked the ground game this time. Max Mickey bounces it out to the right, 6-yard score, and it's 14-0. Vikings strike back in the second. CJ Ham with the short run to cut the lead in half at 14-7. It'd stay that way until the third. Trey Hyde takes it in himself on the QB draw, and we're tied at 14. Late third quarter, Augie trying to move out of the shadow of its own end zone, but Hyde's pass is picked off by Solomon St. Pierre, and he returns it 24 yards for the touchdown. Coup go back on top 21-14. But Hyde would regain his composure later in the third, rolling right and airing it deep for Matt Heller, and he's got it. 49-yard touchdown. We're tied again at 21. But with one step forward, Hyde takes two steps back, throwing another interception, this one to Drew Jackson. He returns it 21 yards to the house. USF's second pick six gives them the lead again. But Hyde would do anything but. On play action, the junior from Lakeville, Minnesota finds some space, dives in for the tie with just 2 minutes remaining. Augie forces a 3-and-out, and with just 22 seconds left, CJ Ham pigs out. 31-yard touchdown, and that's your ball game. Augustana wins the key to the city for the first time and hands USF its first loss 35-28. Afterwards, a very happy Coach Jerry Olszewski made a new declaration about the town that Augie and USF share.
I'm just so proud of the fight in our kids. We say fight on, it means something. And there is no more Coup Falls, it is now Sioux Falls, its rightful name, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I'm so proud of our kids.
So now that Sioux Falls is lost, would Minnesota State take advantage and move to 8-0 against Winona State? Well, it wouldn't be that easy. Jack Nelson to Cam Johnson for the 5-yard score, and the Warriors have a 7-3 lead. Later in the second, Nelson going deep, finding Allen May in the end zone. 37-yard strike. Winona State leads 14-6 at halftime. And they would keep the lead late when Minnesota State has one final chance, but the Hail Mary falls incomplete, and the second undefeated NSIC team goes down as the Mavs fall to the Warriors 31-27. So with both undefeateds going down, a door opens possibly for Minnesota Duluth, who hosted Minnesota Crookston. Drew Bauer, beautiful pass to a wide-open Bo Bofferding for the 23-yard touchdown, 7-0 UMD. You know what all football fans love? They love big guy touchdowns. That's nose tackle Jonathan Harden with the 1-yard plunge, looked like the old refrigerator Perry. That gave the Bulldogs a 21-zip lead. All right, we're going to freeze the screen right now. Do you see Justin Foltz about 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage? See, it helps with our spotlight, but Minnesota Crookston doesn't have our technology. So the defense crashes right, leaving Foltz on a turf island. 27-yard touchdown, wide open. Minnesota Duluth over Minnesota Crookston, 66-17. So with the MSU and USF losses, along with the UMD win, things have definitely changed in the top 25. The Mavericks go from number 1 in both polls all the way down to number 7. Sioux Falls goes from number 5 in the coaches poll to number 10, and goes from number 4 in the D2Football.com poll all the way down to number 11. And shockingly, in the D2Football.com poll, Minnesota Duluth has actually leapfrogged Sioux Falls to number 8. Very surprising considering the Bulldogs have one more loss than USF, and that includes a loss to the Coup itself. Nevertheless, Minnesota Duluth is up to number 18 in the coaches poll. We'll take a look at the first super regional poll a little bit later. But when we come back on the Northern Sun Experience, more football highlights, including Bemidji State's drive for a 5th straight victory.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and Dakota Land Honda.
And welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. After a couple of 3-win campaigns, Bemidji State has already reached its 4th victory of the season in 2015. and the Beavers did so in impressive fashion, scoring 35 unanswered points last week to win the Battle Axe Traveling Trophy against Minnesota State Moorhead. Beavers looking for win number 5 as they hosted St. Cloud State, and they are off. Jordan Hine, 54-yard touchdown run, and Bemidji State has an early 7-0 lead. Later in the first, Hine does it through the air. Great catch in the back of the end zone by Jawan Richard, and it's 14-0. Second quarter, Beavers continue the air attack. Hine over the top to Brady Schmidt, 32 yards, 21-7 at that point. Huskies would make a comeback, but Bemidji State wins by the thinnest of margins, 28-27 over St. Cloud State. MSU Moorhead looking to bounce back on the road at Minot State, and they get a nice bounce here off the blocked punt. Connor Hanf takes it in from 4 yards out. Dragons up 10-0 on the special teams play. Minot State would primarily work the air game, especially to Porter Sturm, who had 128 yards on 7 catches, but it would not be enough as the Dragons topped the Beavers 30-20. Concordia St. Paul visited Wayne State Saturday. First offensive play for the Golden Bears, Trevor Tillett to Jason One, and he's got some room. 81 yards, eventually forced out inside the 5, and it would lead to a field goal. Wildcats come back. Lane Sullivan on the read option, keeping it himself. 5-yard touchdown, and Wayne State leads it 7-3. And he would do it again, this time to the left in the fourth quarter. 16 yards on this run, as the Wildcats eke out a win over the Golden Bears 20-17. To Aberdeen we go. Northern State hosting UMary. Wolves already up 3 and adding to it. Kyle Levon to Tyrell Anderson, 10-yard strike, and it's 10-0 NSU. 16-0 in the third when Nick Truen gets in from 4 yards out to make it 23-0. And in the fourth, the ground game would continue to work for the Wolves. Shaka Kelly with some nice moves off the left side for the 20-yard touchdown. Northern State blanks UMary 37-0. Southwest Minnesota State looking for win number 6 at Upper Iowa, but the Peacocks strike first. Check out the one-handed snag by Jalen Amos. 20-yard strike, and it's 6-0 Upper Iowa. Mustangs come right back. Blake Gimble to Raphael Lawson-Gale. 23 yards, and SMSU takes a 7-6 lead. Move ahead to the fourth, Mustangs up 21-19 and adding to it. Gimble to Devontae Stevens, 14-yard score, makes it 28-19. And then with less than 5 minutes remaining, Gimble to Nate Hewitt, great grab in the back corner. SMSU tops Upper Iowa 34-19. So we saw the national rankings earlier, but here's the key for the postseason. The first edition of the Super Region 3 rankings have been released. Remember, last year the top 6 teams in the region made the playoffs, and now it's the top 7. So if the postseason started today, the NSIC would have 3 teams in: Sioux Falls at number 3, Minnesota State at number 6, and Augustana at number 7. Southwest Minnesota State and Minnesota Duluth are not far behind at numbers 8 and 9 respectively. Super Region 3 consists of the NSIC, the Mid-American Intercollegiate Athletics Association, or MIAA, the Great Northwest Athletic Conference, the GNAC, and the Great American Conference, the GAC. So with both Sioux Falls and Minnesota State losing their first games of the season and the latest regional rankings, the playoff race is wide open. So these late season matchups could make the difference down the stretch. USF will look to rebound on the road at 1-7 Concordia St. Paul at noon. And then at 1, we'll see if Augustana can continue its momentum after the big key to the city victory as they host Upper Iowa. Also at 1, Minnesota Duluth, once thought to be on the outskirts of the playoffs, suddenly looks a little more viable. They go to Northern State, who's won 4 in a row. Our big matchup of the week pits 7-1 Minnesota State at 6-2 Southwest Minnesota State, another big test for the Mustangs. In other action, Minnesota State Moorhead visits St. Cloud State, and one team will finally get off the schneid as 0-8 Minnesota Crookston travels to 0-8 UMary. In the battle for a W, it's the battle of the W's, with Wayne State visiting Winona State, and finally it's Bemidji State at Minot State at 1:30. When we come back, highlights from the NSIC Cross Country Championships. You're watching the Northern Sun Experience.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. As the fall season winds down, the number of conference championships go up. This past weekend, the NSIC Cross Country Championships took place at Les Bolstad Golf Course in Falcon Heights, Minnesota. It's the same course that held the nationally known Roy Griak Invitational just last month. We'll start on the women's side with more than 120 competitors traversing the somewhat sloppy course. And in the end, the woman who won the Roy Griak clearly knew the course best. The University of Mary's Alexis Zeiss takes home the crown with a time of just under 21 minutes 42 seconds. She finished more than 30 seconds ahead of her Roy Griak time, and the sophomore says the conditions suited her best.
This is my favorite weather to run in. I love running in drowsy looking weather. When it's nice and cool out, this is how we've been training back at home. It's been like this too. And coming in, our team was just ready for this race, and it helped pump me up, helped pump everybody else up.
Here are the women's team results. Despite Zeiss's individual victory, the University of Mary finished second as a team behind Minnesota Duluth. The Bulldogs won their second cross-country championship in the past 3 years. Augustana, Winona State, and Northern State round out the top 5. Meanwhile, for the men's 8,000-meter race, once again it was Augustana dominating the field. The Vikings had 3 of the top 4 individual finishers, including junior Glenn Ellingson, who took home first place with a time of just under 25 minutes and 50 seconds. Teammate Keegan Sarda, who was the highest NSIC finisher at the Roy Griak in September, comes in second with a time around 25:57. And Sarda's positive influence actually helped Ellingson cross the finish line first.
I guess I was just thinking the whole time how fortunate I am to have teammates that were able to help me be up there, because I was getting kind of tired around 4 or 5K, but then my teammate Keegan Sarda, he was able to come up there. So the whole time I was thinking, man, I'm so happy. I just won right now, but I'm also so happy I have my teammate coming in right behind me.
And with 3 of the top 4 finishers, it's no surprise that Augustana won the men's team championship for the 7th straight season. The University of Sioux Falls finishes in second with 2 of the top 7 individual performers. Minnesota State Moorhead, the University of Mary, and Minnesota Duluth are 3, 4, and 5, respectively. Well, before the championship, several cross-country athletes took part in some community engagement projects in the St. Paul Public School District. 5 different schools were visited by athletes from 9 different NSIC teams who interacted with elementary and middle school students in team-building exercises.
Giving back, I think, is a really important thing as a student athlete. We're given so many opportunities through the NSIC and through our school, so it's just, I think, really important to give back to others and just put our name out there and get involved with the community, because I think we're big role models.
Well, from the cross-country course to the court, time for just a quick look at the NSIC volleyball polls. And despite its first loss of the season last week to SMSU, Northern State remains at number 2 in the national poll, while some teams behind them also moved up 1 spot. Concordia St. Paul goes from number 4 to number 3, while Southwest Minnesota State goes from number 5 to number 4. Wayne State remains at number 6, while Minnesota Duluth drops to number 9. Augustana and Winona State both move up 1 spot to numbers 20 and 24, respectively. Coming up next, we go under the northern sun at Concordia University, St. Paul.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. It's time to shine the spotlight on one of our member schools with a feature we like to call Under the Northern Sun. Tonight, it's Concordia University in St. Paul, Minnesota, which offers big city benefits with a small, intimate college atmosphere.
Discover the value of Concordia University St. Paul, the only private university in the state of Minnesota competing at the NCAA Division II level. Concordia is affiliated with the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod and part of the Concordia University system. It is a campus where Christ is honored and all are welcome.
I love the Christian atmosphere, that we can feel free to express our faith and share that with others.
We're just lucky to have that opportunity to kind of proclaim our faith at college.
By being a national leader in the conversation of college affordability, Concordia is proud to announce another year of record enrollment. More than 1,400 undergraduates call Concordia's campus home. master's, doctoral, and adult undergraduate students add to the total enrollment of nearly 4,400. Here, the class size of about 15 students per class means students work closely with experienced and skilled faculty, allowing them to build relationships with experts in their field.
I like to have that close relationship with my teachers.
You just have more personal attention from your professors here.
The small class sizes, you really get the one-on-one attention, but at the same time, you're in a huge city and there's always stuff to do.
Being in a class full of maybe 10 people, especially when you get to your senior year, you get that one-on-one experience where you get to come in and you get to talk to them about every single assignment you do, everything you do in the class, every discussion. It's very personalized. You get to know them not only as a teacher, but as a person.
Students can choose from more than 40 undergraduate programs at Concordia St. Paul. Internships are a critical part of the student experience, providing the real-world skills that students need for a lifetime of applicable tools for their careers. Concordia St. Paul is located between the downtown areas of Minneapolis and St. Paul. Entertainment possibilities are endless, from music and theater to sporting events, shopping, and dining. The Twin Cities is also home to thousands of employers, including 18 Fortune 500 companies headquartered in the area, creating exceptional opportunities for students to intern, network, or land their first or next career opportunity.
There's so much diversity, there's so much to do here. We have the Mall of America, we have all different sports teams that are great here.
It's a small town feel in a big city. I've been able to meet so many different people from different backgrounds than mine. I don't think very many schools allow that in a small campus environment.
Even though we're not, downtown, there's a light rail just around the corner and we can always get to places really easily.
Since becoming a Division II member and joining the Northern Sun in 1999, Concordia has captured multiple NCAA Division II championships, while many of Concordia's teams have competed in the NCAA tournament, advanced to Sweet 16 and Elite 8 competition, or had individual participants reach the Division II championship competition level.
We do really try to focus on, going and supporting other athletes.
Makes me proud to be a Golden Bear.
Concordia Athletics offers 16 men's and women's varsity athletics programs, including the newest edition of women's lacrosse in the 2016-17 academic year. A campus that thrives on being a pioneer in higher education, that mentality is also present in athletics, as the lacrosse program is the first in the state to offer athletic scholarships, while also being the first in the Northern Sun to add the thriving sport. Competing at Concordia St. Paul, Golden Bear student athletes have the ability to train year-round in the spacious Concordia Dome at Seafoam Stadium, which opened in 2009.
This is huge because we don't have to practice in a multi-purpose room or a gym floor.
Seafoam Stadium serves as the home to Concordia football, soccer, lacrosse, and track and field programs, while the dome is utilized as an in-season training facility for the baseball, softball, and lacrosse programs.
The multi-purpose Gangelhoff Center is one of the most recognizable and frequently used facilities in the Twin Cities.
Opened in 1993, Gangelhoff Center is equipped with 4 NCAA-sized basketball courts, a 4-lane track, batting cages, racquetball courts, a weight room, and 4 locker rooms.
Concordia is proud of the academic and athletic performances of its student athletes.
Coming up next, it's DB's Picks, the top 5 plays of the past week in the NSIC.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. It's time for DB's Picks, my top 5 plays or moments of the past week in the NSIC. At number 5, we have Famous Amos with a one-handed grab. Upper Iowa's Jalen Amos hauls in this 20-yard touchdown with only his right hand. Check it out again, great concentration to not only grab the ball, but pull it in for the score. Upper Iowa would eventually fall to SMSU, but this snag by Amos snags play number 5 of the past week. At number 4, it's a 4-yard return. MSU Moorhead's Joe Rademacher blocks the punt, Connor Hanf scoops it up and takes it in for the score. Check it out one more time, Rademacher blows by the scheme and easily gets the block, while Hanf cleans up the mess. The Dragons end a 4-game slide thanks to play number 4. For number 3, CJ Ham gets the key. His 31-yard touchdown with 22 seconds left secured Augustana's first victory over Sioux Falls for the Key to the City Traveling Trophy. Ham feasted on the Cougars all afternoon for 154 yards and 2 scores. But it was his last one that gave USF its first loss and unlocked play number 3 of the past week. At number 2, Alexis Zeiss is twice as nice. The University of Mary sophomore won the 2015 NSIC Cross Country Championship on the very same course where she won the Roy Griak Invitational just last month. Zeiss finished with a time of just under 21 minutes 42 seconds, more than 30 seconds better than her Roy Griak time. Zeiss's second win at this course in 2 months secures her spot at number 2. But our number 1 play of the week goes to Minnesota Duluth for this fantastic fake out. Justin Folks acts very nonchalant 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and as the play develops, Minnesota Crookston goes right, and Folks might as well be a golfer because there's nothing but green in front of him. Great play design by the Bulldogs, but Folks still has to put on an Academy Award performance to sell it. The Folks fake out is our number 1 play of the past week. Once again, a thank you to all of our NSIC member schools for their time and contributions to this week's show. We'll be back next week right here for another Northern Sun Experience.